to take them down. So we don't like to appreciate others genuinely in this world. If we have to do it, we'll do it after they're dead. You know? Oh, I've got to appreciate them now they're dead. Okay, I'm obligated to go to the dead person appreciation program. But we won't do it when they're alive. We won't do it to their face. Somehow we don't want to give them the personal satisfaction of being appreciated. We're only willing to do it once they're not there to get any kind of pleasure out of it. But that's really the atmosphere. At least 1/10 of the appreciation we show to people once they're not on this planet anymore. We should be showing them on a regular basis. I think I've said this before, how my mother was speaking about money, and she said, as when she was getting older, she said, it's better to give your money with a warm hand than a cold hand. So she gave away she was a very wealthy lady, but she gave away the majority of her money before she died. So better like that, better to show appreciation of somebody when there's some reciprocation. When they can get some pleasure from it, and get some encouragement from it. And then of course there's a science as to how to appreciate, which we don't have time to go over today. There's a science of how to appreciate in such a way that people really do feel enlivened, that people feel encouraged. And we'll just say briefly that the more specific your appreciation is, the more enlivening it is. If I just say, oh, you're very sincere, that's not terribly enlivening. But if I say, oh, I see that, you spent 3 hours today and going and buying the boga, and you had to go to 5 different shops because they didn't have the right things, and you had to battle the traffic, and that's much more valuable to the person, and especially to appreciate a person's sacrifices, not just the external accomplishments, not just, oh, you wrote this book, or the deities look beautiful today, but what were the details that went into it, because that's so rarely appreciated by anybody, and that's what's actually encouraging. If I say, oh, I noticed that in order to make the deadline for completing the altar, you stayed up 3 nights in a row. Everything fell apart at the last minute, and still you put it together, and somehow or other you made the deadline, and that's a lot more valuable to the person and encouraging to the person than just, oh, the altar was beautiful. And that's our idea. Prabhupada said management is that you encourage the spirit of enthusiastic service, which is individual, spontaneous, and voluntary. So this is one of Urmila's pet political subjects here. ISKCON is not exactly a for-profit corporation. We have, in the last decade or so, started to get more and more devotees who are successful business persons. And they come to ISKCON with their ideas about management, the majority of which are very useful. But ISKCON is an organization run by volunteers. I mean, frankly, even the people that we pay, we're probably paying at below market rates. Is that correct? Johnny Technical? That if a person did similar work outside of ISKCON, they would probably make more money, most likely. So that means even the paid people are to some extent volunteers. And really everybody who's chanting Hare Krishna, everyone who's following the Prabhupada principles, everyone who's reading Prabhupada's books, whether they get some money in the form of, they get maintenance in the form of money or not, everyone is a volunteer devotee. And when you deal with volunteers, you especially need to be dealing with encouragement. And this is not just something for the managers. It's not just Jani Taipa who has to encourage everybody, and everybody else can forget about it. But just like when devotees complain to Srila Prabhupada about something in management, they're doing this, and Prabhupada said, don't say they. He said, they means bureaucracy. You are all they. So it's all of our responsibility. You may have been, in ISKCON for 1 week, you may have been in ISKCON for, 1 century, whatever. It's all of our responsibility to really look, to really pay attention. And the demigods are really paying attention to what Krishna's doing. They're not just involved in their own affairs, they're watching. So to watch what the devotees are doing, really pay attention. With the view of finding something to encourage, finding something to glorify, not with the view of watching to find something to criticize. Now, of course, here it says the cowherd boys were struck with wonder. Why were the cowherd boys struck with wonder?
Because they think of Krishna as a simple child, and here they see all of these flowers coming down, and this complication.
Right. I mean, could you imagine if on Balaram's appearance day, when the new altar is unveiled, all of a sudden the queen walks in, you know, and shakes Jani Thakur's hand and Murli's hand and says, "Well done, well done." We'd all be astonished, wouldn't we? We'd say, "Well, gosh, I didn't know that what was happening in this temple was coming to the notice of the queen. Who are these people in the temple anyway? You know, what kind of persons are they that the queen is noticing them?" Or, you know, if they made it in the headline of the, what is it, London Times? Could you imagine? Front page headline: Radha Londonishwar gets new altar. You know, we'd be astonished. So, wow, I didn't know they paid any attention. So the cowherd boys were thinking like that. But the demigods are paying attention to what Krishna's doing. That's amazing. And that's there. And then they just love Krishna more. And they think, wow. They don't think that must mean that Krishna is Lord Narayana, or he's Vishnu, or he's omnipotent. They just think, well, I really have a special friend. I'm so fortunate to be Krishna's friend. Krishna is so wonderful. Their love for Krishna increases. Okay, now we're in text 53. Muktam bakasya rupalabhya balaka Ramadaya pranami vendriyo gana Stanagatam tam parirabdha nirvrita Rani avatsan rajamechya tajjagu
Muktam bakasya rupalabhya balaka Ramadaya pranam hivindriyo ganaha Stanagatam tam parirya nirvrittaha Raniya vatsan rajam etyatajjagu Tambakasya upalabhya balaka Ramadaya pranam hivindriyo ganaha Stanagatam tam parirabhya nivrita Raniya vatsan
Rajametsatajagu
Tambakasya upalabhya balaka Ramadaya pranam hivindriyo ganaha Tanagatam tam parirabhya nivrita Raniya vatsan rajanityatajjagu